Hi, everybody. Welcome. I am so excited to be spending a little bit of time with you to make the Hello Pumpkin. This is a Kimberbell event, so we're going to have a couple of projects we're going to do together. It's going to be a lot of fun. It is an easy kit to do, but let's just start it right. So I'm going to be showing you a bunch of supplies and stuff to make this, but we'll get to that. First, we're going to start with getting our design. You're going to open your kit and you're going to find a USB stick. The USB stick, there is no design on it. You're going to find one of these cards inside the back of your bag, and inside is a redemption code. That redemption code is where you're going to find your designs. But all your instructions are going to be inside the book that's inside your kit. So we'll put that to the side. Now, when it comes to the supplies, if you buy $100 worth of Kimberbell items, you get this design package for free. And it is mesh designs, jar wrap designs. There's ones for all seasons. It's really, really great. There's a lot of value there. So don't forget to put in the cart and check out using all the stabilizers, Kimberbell tape, and whatever else you need Kimberbell, because we do carry all of it. Anyway, let's get started. I have tape already in my tape dispenser. We have our book. Now our hoop. Inside our hoop is this item. This is a Kimberbell wash away. It is going to fully dissolve when it gets wet. So that is what you're going to cut. And we're just using a 5x7 hoop. And you're just going to put that into your machine. You're going to take your soldier green thread and you're going to wind some on a bobbin. You don't need a lot. If you go about a quarter of a bobbin full, that'll be plenty. And then you're going to need 2 pieces of green felt, 1 square of flexi foam. And there are other items in your bag, especially the 2 red, that you will find you can do on your own time, is make another one using the exact same process we're doing now, but to make the that one there. But for today's recording, we're just going to do the green and make a small leaf. Let's go to the machine and start stitching. So I turned the spotlight off, so I hope you can see, but this is our screen front for our designs that we are choosing. And we are choosing a 4x4 acorn leaf design. And you're just going to select that design. You're going to press set, and then we're going to select embroider. So if you're following along in your book, we are on page 5, and we are just going to be stitching right on top of our stabilizer. So you can see our placement line, and this is our flexi foam, and we're just going to put that right over top. And I'm using that Kimberbell tape just to make sure that it doesn't move. And then I'm going to press start, and we're going to stitch that. So now that stitching is done, you're going to take your scissors and you're going to cut out the outside of your flexi foam. So if you are wondering how close to trim it, that's how close. You want to get nice and close to the edges because we are going to be putting our felt over top, and we want a very nice looking leaf. So once you've trimmed it, you're just going to press start, and you're going to stitch your felt placement line right on your stabilizer. So we're going to take one of those small pieces of felt, and we're just going to lay it over top, and we're going to make sure that everything is covered, and we're just going to place some more tape to cover everything, and then we're going to stitch that down. So now that it has stitched that down, this next step might feel very strange, but you're actually going to turn your hoop over to the back, and you're going to put your felt right over top. Now, because this is the back side of your hoop, you are going to want to make sure that every corner has tape. And then you're going to turn it over, and you're going to put it back in your machine, and you're going to stitch that down. So you don't have to do anything in the hoop that you have to do different. The only thing you have to do is just press and start your machine again. And this is another spot. You don't have to do anything. You just press start. And there's your little tune that lets you know that your design is finished. So we have finished stitching out our very first project in the hoop. And you're just going to take it, and this is the part where you loosen it. Just have it come out. And then you're just going to take your tape. You're going to remove your tape. And the back looks fantastic because these leaves, you can see both sides of them. So we are We want it to look good. Okay, so I got a bunch of tape. You might be one of those people that likes to reuse their tape. I do sometimes, but not this time. So to trim it, we are going to trim on that outside line. So you see two lines on your leaf. There, we are going to go around the outside one. Yeah, and you're going to cut right on those stitches. And I'm going to bring you in nice and close so you can see what I mean. So this is what I mean by nice and close. You can see that that whole outside edge is very nicely trimmed, and there's only one line going around the leaf to show the leaf detail. Now you're probably wondering, why do I have that tool and why do I have a hammer? And we are going to line that tool up, and then you're just going to hit it with the hammer, and it's going to create that perfect little hole for your string to pass through. Where can you find this? Well, if you've ever bought a sewing machine, it's probably in your kit. And the hammer, you're going to have to go to the garden shed or to the hardware store. Okay, so you made it through your first little project, which is the little leaf. But from your cutout of your leaf, you have these little pieces. Do not throw them out just yet, because we are going to call on you to get that out later. So let's do the acorn plushie. So first thing that we're going to do is we are going to re-hoop our 5x7 hoop with our wash-away stabilizer. We are going to take our iron-on backing stabilizer, and we're going to iron it on to our linen texture piece of fabric that's there. I just cut it to the same size, and I made sure that the glue part is up. Center it over, and I'm just going to iron that on. You don't have to iron for very long. Make sure your iron's nice and hot to make sure that that glue is melting. So she gives you enough fabric to do 2 acorns. So that's what we have. And that's our iron-on fusible that's gone on the back of that. You're going to need both pieces of light brown felt. You're going to need the larger piece of flexi foam. And you're going to need one of your packages of polyester stuffing. And that is very last. So let's go to the machine. We're going to pull up our design and let's get stitching. So again, I turned all the lighting off so you could see my screen nicely. So I have the acorn pulled up, and that is what we're going to stitch. So we have linen in our upper thread. We have white bobbin thread underneath, and we are just going to stitch right on top of our stabilizer. And you're going to take some of that flexi foam, and you're just going to make sure that you are covered all the way. And then we're just going to put a little piece of tape down just to make sure it can't shift on us. And then all we're going to do is we're going to press start. So you're just going to take that and we're just going to cut it out. Any of the scissors and things that you can see me using, they're all on our website. These little pairs that I'm using now, these ones are excellent. They're very sharp. They are a Kimberbell scissor. They are from her scissor kit, but she does have scissors that are sold individually. And I'm just going to come back in with my double curved. And I'm just going to get a little bit closer. You want to be careful not to cut your stabilizer. You're also going to be very careful you're not going to pop your project out of the hoop. It's important to do all your trimming on a flat surface. And yes, you do have to trim right between the little stem of the acorn and then all around the acorn. And now we're just going to go back to the machine and we're going to stitch our placement line. And you're just going to press start. You're going to take one of your pieces of felt. It is a bit of a rectangle shape, and you're just going to put that over top. So that way every corner is covered. Take a small piece of tape and just secure it so it can't shift on you. And then you're just going to press start. So nothing to do here, nothing to change. You're just going to press start and you're going to let it stitch out all the acorn details. So that's how gorgeous it looks when that part is all stitched out. So this next part, we are just going to press start. And it's going to stitch where we are going to place our piece of fabric on. So you can see where that has to go. And our piece of fabric is quite big. So we're just going to go right where that under part is. We're just going to cover that. And then we are going to stitch that down. All right, it's time to go back and cut that out. So I have changed my upper thread to brown. I have also changed my bobbin thread to brown. And that is the spice brown from your kits. And if you'd like to see how close I have trimmed, let's get you nice and close. Nice and close to the edge, because we are going to be coming around and doing a nice wide satin stitch, and you don't want any of that fabric sticking out the side. So we're just going to lower that presser foot, and we're just going to let the machine do all the work. So that is what it looks like when the satin stitch is all done. So before we're going to go and tape the back of the felt to our hoop, we are going to do a short stitch right here. The only purpose for that stitch is to show us where we are stuffing it. So that's all it did. It stitched from here to here. So that's how far we've gotten. So I'm going to get you to take your hoop and you're just going to flip it over. You're going to take your felt and you're just going to place it the same spot as your upper felt. Very important to make sure you tape every corner. We always have somebody in a class that accidentally has their corner, when they put it in the hoop, it has folded over. So anytime you're doing something on the back of the hoop, very important to hoop every corner. And I always try to catch a little bit of the embroidery frame, so that way it has something a little bit stronger to hold on to than just the felt. Okay, back to the machine. All right, so we have the back of our felt. I'm just going to take a little peek to make sure no corners have been lifted. And this is the last step of stitching on this one. And then we are ready to put it together. And that's the song we've been waiting for. That is everything for the embroidery machine for this project. So let's go take our project over to our cutting table. So you did it. Time to take it out of the hoop. And that is what the back looks like. There is our front. We're going to trim it again, and we are going to trim right on that white line. And we're going to take our eyelet tool and we're just going to put a hole in that. It's time to put it together. It's deceiving how much fluffing there is in one of those bags, but you won't need it for the whole thing. So you're just going to take some and you're just going to fill it however full you want it. See that? The shape is coming together. I'm going to let you take yours and you're going to take it to the sewing machine or hand stitch it, and you're just going to stitch that closed. So I'm just going to take my needle and thread. I am going to attach it to my twine. And I'm going to go through the eyelet and just use that to pull that twine through. And then I'm going to take it and I'm going to go right through the acorn eyelet. And I'm going to walk that through as well. Cut my string. I'm going to go from the back. I'm going to go to the front. I'm just going to snug it up. Do a bow. And there you have it. That is our first project. Our first acorn is finished. So let's move on to the jar wrap, shall we?